Do you want to switch chairs? No. So you're a little higher?
Welcome back to the live Cancer Gets Lost charity webcast, streaming online for all of you lovely people, all 90-something of you, I hope.
That's Penn, I'm Teller.
That's right. I actually will let Jared talk.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Once again, all of our information can be found at cancergetslost.org. 100% of the proceeds from donations made during this webcast and to the auction and at the event, we're having a fundraising event in Los Angeles tonight, all go to the National Brain Tumor Society, which is near and dear to our hearts because my friend Jackie recently passed away. She was 33 years old and she battled bravely for 4 years against brain tumors. So we chose her cause of choice, and this is what inspired us all and the Lost community. And speaking of inspiration, we have with us today Mark Goldman, who edited many, many episodes of Lost, and Elizabeth Sarnoff, but Liz Sarnoff, who executive produced and wrote many episodes of Lost.
Hey, Liz. He directed too.
And one of the most fan favorite, sorry, shippers for Kate, episodes of all time, LaFleur, not LaFleur, which I say it fast, LaFleur. Liz, you wrote the episode that got Sawyer and Juliet together.
Yes.
Did you have? Yes, you did.
Yes, I think I did. I think it was me and Jim Glossop.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I definitely know you co-wrote it.
Yes, we co-wrote everything.
Was there any discussion at all about what the reaction would be from fans? You have them on the dock talking about Sawyer asking for 2 weeks, and then you built up an amazing 3 years in that episode, so that by the end we bought hook, line, and sinker that Sawyer and Juliet were in love.
Is that a question?
There
was no question.
The question would be, did you have any concern or thought about how this would be how it would be received?
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of that season, if I remember correctly, was about sort of taking those two characters in particular on a different kind of journey, because the arc of Sawyer's character was always, God, he's a really bad guy. Oh my God, he's not such a bad guy. Oh, now I really like him, now I hate him again.
Right.
And so this was, and then people were very resistant to Juliet always, from the start of season 3 on.
I know.
You being one of them. Because, people were always resistant to the characters that were not originally on the plane. And she was sort of a bad guy in the beginning. You didn't know what to think of her. And this was the episode that really, I felt like we took them to a place of a new maturity.
Yes.
Where Sawyer became a guy who was a responsible member of a community, living with the Dharma Initiative and being the sheriff, and now he's with this woman who's a mature sort of woman that expects more of him, I think, than we had expected of him before. And the surprise, I think Mark would agree with me, of the episode was that people embraced it. Yes. Because we were very nervous about it to the point of not doing it and having many conversations about, people are really going to hate this.
Interesting.
And I really believed, though, Elizabeth Mitchell could not be a lovelier actress or human being. And that there was a side to her that was going to deepen Sawyer. Yes. And I think that was the point of it, and it did.
Yeah,
and then, so that at the end of that season, when she's falling into the hole, it was heartbreaking, which I don't think we could have gotten that kind of heartbreak for Juliet without one of our original characters loving her as much as Sawyer did.
Absolutely.
I was warned by Damon Lindelof before I even went to the island. He said, "Now you should know, people are going to hate your episode."
Oh.
And I went, "Why?" And he said that.
Exactly
but the fact is, the two of them in their few interactions, there was definitely a great chemistry.
Absolutely.
The two of them, when they were on the screen together a few times, there was something relaxed. So I was like, I think people are going to love it, or maybe that's just me.
Right. I think it was very, very well received. Even people who maybe were on the Kate and Sawyer, selling those seas, very troubled seas, I think that they could concur that those two made it work. They sold it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's a couple things that I think, there's a lot that went into it being successful. I think the characters that the writers had been developing between the two of them over the seasons had a certain depth, and so that when they got together, it was like two real people.
Yes.
It kind of, sometimes you have two people who you go, oh, I knew they'd be together.
Right.
And there's other times two people get together and you go, never saw that coming. I still can't believe it.
And this didn't distract from the overall story. It enhanced.
And the other thing is that these two actors are really good.
Oh, yeah.
And lovely.
And lovely. And it was a perfect episode to get to direct because they were a delight to work with. And I think they both They both have a warmth and a charm to them. You know, both characters that they played had a certain mystery behind the eyes.
Yes.
And they're not boring.
Right.
And they make you kind of like look, and even if it's hatred, it's like, I don't know if I trust her. That's, and
well, they're deeply flawed too. I mean, they were deeply flawed in an adult kind of way.
Right.
And it was sort of the marriage of that I think made the relationship, people warm to it. I mean, nobody was more surprised than we were. I remember Damon spoke to somebody who was had seen a sneak of the episode and loved it, and we were like, oh my God, people are gonna like this? So it was very satisfying, first because we really wanted to make her a character that the audience would invest in.
I loved her from episode 1. I have always defended
No,
Juliet.
you did not.
Oh, please.
No,
yes,
you did
I
not.
did. Juliet, are you kidding
You were,
me?
do I trust her? Do I not trust her?
No, I love that. She played it close to the best.
Elizabeth Mitchell.
It's like we're brother and sister. No, it's not that I obviously have a huge appreciation and admiration, that's what I'm going to call it, for
you're not
Elizabeth
trying to
Mitchell.
rewrite history,
Right.
are you?
No.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that I was always on my side defending Juliet because, you know, she obviously didn't know whose side she was on, but she also was, to me, no offense to anyone else on the show or any of your beloved iconic characters, the smartest woman on the island. And I appreciated her intelligence and her decision making and her sarcastic wit, and it's Elizabeth Mitchell, so I was on board. But I wanted to ask you, you know, besides LaFleur, I know that was the one you directed, but you edited some amazing ones, including the Charlie Through the Looking Glass.
You
edited that one, and also the LAX and the End. So you did season 6 bookends.
Between 1 and
Those that was team effort.
Yes.
I cannot take full credit for that.
Go
I
ahead
can
and give
certainly take
shout-outs.
partial credit, and believe me, I'll take all the credit.
Give shout-outs to your other editors.
I'm giving a shout out to the writer because I'm sitting next to him. Usually I just take the credit.
Yeah.
Right.
But yes, we did win for the finale.
For the finale, which is great. And what are the other
And
gentlemen
Mary
you edited?
Mary Jo Markey won the Emmy for the pilot.
the
So
pilot.
a nice
You
bookends.
bookends.
And in between, we
Right.
didn't need awards. It's not about awards.
What are the names of the other editors
Sort of
who
about
won
awards.
the Emmy? Just so I can give them shout-outs.
We had Steve
Stephen
Semmel
Semmel.
and
Chris Nelson.
and Hank Van Agen,
Okay.
who came on to shore us up.
Okay.
Because the finales, they were always exciting.
Yeah,
They
some
were
were.
about as exciting to make as they were to watch.
They were about 6 hours long. before
6
they were
hours
cut
long.
down.
You know, full-length movie
150
that
pages. You
they
know,
got
big deal.
shot in about 3 days, really not sure how they did it.
Yeah.
And then we edited it in about 3 days, not sure how we
Amazing.
did it. It was always breakneck.
Right.
And they got on the air, and I would go, wasn't I just watching these dailies a few weeks ago?
Such a quick turnaround. They don't really, that's not normal.
That's not normal.
No.
And I think our show was
Not normal.
not normal
It
because
was not normal.
big. It was big.
It was big. And Liz, is there one particular episode or character you loved writing?
Oh, God.
By the way, I love talking to Liz because when I ask her most of the time, I have this same crazy enthusiasm and details, and she'll be like, I don't know.
I never know what Joe's talking about.
It's true.
God, that's hard to say. You know, there was certainly there were a lot of Locke episodes towards the latter part of the series that were very fun, like The Candidate, and I certainly really loved Eddie and Adam and I got to write the penultimate episode of the
What
show.
They Died For.
What They Died For, which was
great.
we'd been working together for all those years, and we actually got to do one together,
Yeah.
which was really, really fun. But the characters were great. I mean, I think if anything about that show was a great experience for a writer was the sheer breadth of the show was amazing. I mean, you could write scenes in Iraq, you could write scenes in England, you could write scenes in Korea, you could write scenes on an island. I mean, it just really encompassed every type of writing there was, and the characters had such specific voices. And
Very. Yeah.
so it's hard to find a favorite, I think, in there, because you know, every episode is different, and you know, also because of the way the show broke as far as storytelling, as far as people really having an episode. It just, every week it was a different show, seen through somebody else's eyes.
Right.
So that was really nice.
And it's interesting because I enjoyed it for a similar really the same thing, the variety. You know, before Lost, I had worked on Angel, and I would tell people the fun thing about it was that 1 week it would be, you know, just a monster movie.
Right.
The next week it would be a really heartfelt character drama, and then the next week it would be just a goofball comedy, and it was delicious not doing the same note every week. And then I got onto Lost, and which also it's what she said. It was different characters, different places. It makes it a lot of fun to work on.
I bet.
Yeah.
Each of you has a personal, obviously everyone in the world is affected by cancer, and when I reached out to both of you about participating in this cause and supporting our cause, you both said that you were okay with talking about it on the air. So if you wouldn't mind sharing your particular stories and and why you're so amazing and generous to help our cause, that would be amazing. Liz, I mean, I don't think a lot of people know your story and about with the writer's strike and what.
Oh, well, first of all, I think you guys are pretty amazing. I mean, this is an amazing thing to do, and I'm very appreciative that you're doing it. I mean, I've done nothing really to help you, so
You gave us lots of items.
I think it's great. But back, I guess it was during the writing of the 4th season of Lost. At the very beginning of that season, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was very surprising. I don't know why. My mother passed away of breast cancer, but I was fairly young at the time and shocked. And the guys were everybody was just great. I mean, Damon and Carlton basically came to me and said, you do whatever you need to do, and we're here, and your job is here, and whatever. But ironically, my treatment, when I started chemotherapy, was right at the beginning of the writer's strike. So I actually missed almost no work whatsoever. Oh, wow. Which is an odd thing to say. But it was, it's a very, I had been through it with my mother, and then Mark and I were just saying it's a very different experience when you're the caretaker and when you're the patient. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was a life-altering experience. It really made me want to change my life afterwards and live in a different way, because I had no longer had the tolerance for things that were going to make life a misery on a day-to-day basis. And I came back to Lost afterwards, and I was so grateful. I couldn't believe I had an office and a job, and I was working on this great show, and it just made the experience of the show much more poignant for me in a lot of ways, because when you get that diagnosis, sometimes you just think, am I going to see the end of this? Am I, what's going to happen? You just don't know.
Right.
So for me now, I think there's two worlds. There's a world where you live, where cancer is a part of your everyday life, and there's a world where everybody else lives.
Right.
And once you've lived in that cancer world, straddling the two becomes sort of the challenge of your life. And I think stuff like this, that brings those worlds together, where people who are not experiencing it necessarily are taking part in helping people who are, is really something great. So I'm very grateful to you guys for doing this.
We appreciate you and your story, and all of you. She opened her garage and literally had a garage sale of amazing items, and she's like, take this, take this, take that, I want that. You take this, I'll keep that. Okay, great.
It's all in the garage.
You'll see all the items in the descriptions, donated by Elizabeth Sarnoff. So there are lots of great ones. Thank you.
If I had known, I have all sorts of stuff in my garage.
Well, we'll be calling you later, Mark.
But it's not really Lost related. But some of my kids' old books.
Yes.
Your story.
It was the beginning of the final season, I think.
It was.
Right in we were starting to work on the first episode, and my wife had a chest X-ray that revealed a little something here, and we were like, nah, it couldn't be. It turned out to be lung cancer. It's funny because I've been thinking about this on the way over. The reaction, this is my Lost story. The Damon and Carlton get a lot of guff about the finale and answering questions, and they get some pretty abusive stuff.
They can take it. They can take
it.
And they do.
But when some of it is like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? I think every once in a while I have to stop myself from going, let me tell you something about the people I work for. What the word I got from them was very similar. Do what you need to do. Take care of your family. You've got a job. The support that anybody who's been through it can tell you, until you've gone through it, you can't know what it's like. And I don't know what it's like to go through having cancer. And I'm sure it's different than what it's like to be a caretaker. And I hope I don't find out. And I hope my wife doesn't find out what it's like to be a caretaker.
Right.
Because they both suck. The great thing about what's happening here, and the great thing about bidding on these items, is it really affects us. It really is so helpful. The support I got when my wife was first diagnosed from everyone at Lost, it doesn't make things good. It doesn't make it all better, but it's really a tremendous feeling. And whenever anyone donates something on behalf of Jane, my wife, or and the people I know have continued to be supportive and generous, and I wish I could put into words how it helps, but believe me, it does. And anyone who is contributing, believe me, it touches everyone who has been through it. Because once you've been through it, it's different.
Yeah.
Life is not the same.
Life is not the same.
Perspective.
I think you and I had that conversation. Because you were saying, I remember you saying to me one day, we were talking outside the editing bay, you know, I just want this behind us or something like that. And I said, Mark, she may get better, but it's never going to be behind you. Because once you've had cancer, then you're a cancer survivor. I mean, I just got to 5 years, which is hallelujah. But, you know, it's still, it's there. It's a thing. And so when you see stuff like this, in that people care, it just is very lonely. It can be a very lonely experience. Yeah. And I think this takes the loneliness out of it. Right. And that's really important.
It's unnerving because you don't know what the future. Here's the fun story of us. Even though it's lung cancer, I sort of belong here because just a few months ago, we discovered that the lung cancer had metastasized in her brain.
Oh no.
So we sort of get to be in both worlds, lung cancer and brain cancer. Isn't that special?
Oh boy.
It's not really special.
But there's two amazing communities for both. I mean, obviously there's organizations seemingly for almost every type of cancer, and you know, I think that you'll find, both of you have found that the communities for those organizations have been, you know, stellar.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, until you're in it, you can't fully appreciate it. But you know, I mean, the tumor came out clean, but you never. And so right now everything's fine.
Yay.
And you know, and absolutely.
Something we're all very superstitious.
Yeah, it's like
there's a chair.
Right.
Okay.
You know, is this real wood? Because if it's not real wood, I have to go find some real wood. And one thing you have to learn to live with. With being in the, I mean, one of the things Liz and I talked about is you just have to live in the moment. Because yes, I did want it all to be behind me. I wanted it to be all cleaned up.
Who doesn't?
Done. And it hasn't really worked out that way.
Right.
Now, I will say one thing. When she was diagnosed, I thought to myself, I'm lucky this didn't happen 10 years ago. I would be luckier if it happened 10 years from now. And that is because all this money we're raising, it really actually is paying off. The things that the doctors do now, it's really astonishing.
It is.
And 20 years ago, definitely I would be talking about a different ending to my story.
Right.
10 years ago, I probably would.
Right.
I'm very grateful to be having this happen at this point in history.
With medical
Again,
technology.
10 years from now, when the money we're raising this weekend has brought even more amazing things.
Right.
For those out there who unfortunately will be affected by it in 10 years, and some will, it's going to be better.
Right.
And then 10 years after that, it'll be even better.
That's fine. We'll always be fundraising.
So
Joe will still be sitting here.
I will be sitting here. I'll just have more gray hair. You're welcome, America.
And we'll be talking about lost episodes from 15 to 4
going. Please remember that time you snapped Juliet's back. What the hell was that about?
I don't think I cut that episode. Did I cut that episode?
I asked you that the first time I met you, and you're like, "Are you effing kidding me? I'm doing season 6. I don't know.
I don't know what happened in season 3."
Seriously, though, let's talk. I'd like to know what happened to Juliet's branded back.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about that.
Okay,
one.
we won't.
I've taken enough. We're talking about taking guff.
Oh, please.
No.
Come on now.
I've been vilified.
Well, we appreciate it. You know, that 100% of our proceeds are going to the National Brain Tumor Society is amazing because they not only support research for a cure, they help families. And like my friend Jackie, she has an amazing family, and they really are an amazing organization that helped them throughout their entire process and continue to now. So it is a great organization. And like I said, there are obviously ones for every kind of cancer and cause, but
they're all important.
They're all important. And we just happen to select this one.
This is just as
Great.
important.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about your friend.
Thank you.
Very,
I
very
appreciate
sad.
that.
It sucks.
I know.
33 years
Totally.
old.
Cancer
33
sucks.
years old.
Yeah, 33. And, you know, honestly, this is my way of honoring her, but also I think dealing with the grieving process is to raise, you know, honestly, conservatively, we wanted to raise $10,000. Our auction, we had no idea it's a down economy, and we are at $26,000+ in our auction alone.
Yeah.
And tonight we're raising more money in a live event, and we're taking donations now and giving away some lost items, and we literally would be not here without the fans, and we appreciate
Thank you so
much.
Thank you so much.
Your interest and your contributions and your generosity, and those who created the show that brought us all together. Literally, like the finale, it's not a cliche, you created this place so that we could find one another. And now with that, we are able to do this. So thank you.
Pretty great.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Before you go, we would like to just point out that in our auction, we have an autographed script of The Constant, generously donated by the Stanton family. Damon and Carlton have signed this script. Easily probably the most beloved episode of all time.
It was all in the editing.
It was all in the editing.
See,
Mark
see what I
Goldman.
did? See what I did? I took
Yes,
credit.
that was pretty good.
Because they're not here.
If you listen to the DVD extras, you can actually turn on Mark's commentary with Damon and Carlton to talk about those amazing jumps that were so quick.
It's not really all in the editing.
It's all magic. It's magic.
It was a love story.
It was a
love
love
I think
story.
that's why, I mean,
This is,
it's a love story.
and as of this morning, it was at $2,600, which is amazing, but it's kind of a steal because we discovered this afternoon that there is an unaired scene in the back of this script that no one's ever seen, or if you have, just pretend that I didn't say that. But
Did somebody cut out?
there is, I don't know, did you film this, Mark Goldman?
Did I cut the scene out? Or did
No,
I,
do you know the scene I'm talking about?
if
You know, I don't remember. So.
You don't.
I know the scene you're talking about.
Okay,
I
I'm
do
not
know
going
the
to
scene
spoil
you're
it for you
Keep
because
the character involved.
we want to have you bid on it. That there is a scene that never aired at the end of The Constant with Charlotte and Daniel Faraday, and that's all.
And it explained everything in the whole series perfect.
What
No,
the
it
numbers are,
didn't.
everything.
It didn't.
What the island was.
your polar bear questions and all your lingering questions are at the end of The
Pregnancy.
Constant. No, they're not. But we would like you to bid on this in our auction, biddingforgood.com/cancergetslost. I feel like I'm Vanna White and, you know, all of them
Nice.
in all the
Nice.
announcers in once. But yes, everything is, all the details are at cancergetslost.org, and we'd really like to thank Elizabeth Sarnoff and Mark Goldman for coming in, sharing your stories,
pleasure.
sharing
Thank
your
you.
amazing
Pleasure.
garage items with us. Next time I'm in town, I'm going to get some bourbon and maybe go through them more carefully. But thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
we'll be back
guys.
shortly. We have a video for you, and we're preparing for the other half of Drive Shaft. Liam Pace, Mr. Neil Hopkins. He's going to sign the Drive Shaft poster, ladies and
is
gentlemen, in
everybody.
the auction. We'll be back shortly.